Welcome to the Dreams by Any Means Motivation Station. I'm your host, Ed Doxson. Hope everyone's having a good day today, or I should say had a good day as it is winding down to the end of the night for me. But for some people, it may not be. Y'all might be on y'all way out. But nonetheless, hope everybody is enjoying their weekend so far. It's a good Saturday. We are into the summer, still early, but the weather's good. A little bit of rain, a little bit of hurricanes and things and storms going on around the country. But nonetheless, the weather is here. The sun's out. People are enjoying themselves, cookouts, getting ready for Independence Day, all those type of things. If you still celebrate that, people don't celebrate it no more, but that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. But with that being said, we are in the summer of separation. If you've been tapping in, we started off with figuring it out while figuring it out, which was kind of the kickoff. Not even kind of was the kickoff unintentionally. It was kind of to talk about the prep, but that ended up becoming an episode. And then episode 2 was guarding your peace. So today we're live for episode 3. And episode 3, part 3 of Summer Separation 2 is choosing yourself. Choosing yourself, picking yourself. This may sound familiar if you tapped into the first Summer Separation series where we talked about choosing yourself, putting yourself first, and, choosing yourself. I think it's only right for it to come after guarding your peace, because when you guard your peace, you're looking at those things that do what? Disturb the peace. And you're looking at how to guard and protect your peace and remove those things that interrupt that process. So once you get into the space of saying, okay, I'm guarding my peace, now that you guard your peace, how you guard your peace, but also guard yourself, is that you choose yourself. So when I think about choosing yourself, right, we all have different responsibilities, different roles in our lives that, causes us to have to show up for other people, causes us to have to do things at work, friendships, motherhood, fatherhood, all these different type of things that allow you to sometimes have to put things and people before yourself. And nothing's wrong with that, right? As I talked about selflessness on the first episode, and as well as talking about selflessness on the last Summer Separation series, that comes with a part of life with age. And, especially if you're a good person, genuine person, there's times when you are serving to those people that are in your lives, personally and professionally. But choosing yourself is the next step, because it just makes sense when you think about, like I said, guarding your peace. You want to choose yourself all the time. And when I say all the time, as I just said, you have other things that you have to show up for. But in the midst of those things, if you aren't choosing yourself while trying to show up for those other things, you'll lose yourself. And losing yourself is one of the biggest, I won't want to say word mistake, but it's one of the scariest things that a human can do. When you lose yourself, you lose who you really are. You lose your sense of belonging. You lose your ways and habits and things to make you happy. And then when you lose yourself, everyone else around you loses you as well, because now you're unable to show up with those gifts, talents, that make up who you are, that person of who you are, even the flaws that come with who we are, because no one's perfect. But when you lose yourself, everybody around you loses, but more importantly, you lose. And this life is too short to be losing yourself. So the first way to choose yourself is this, right? Look at your life, look at yourself and say, what is one thing that I cannot live without? One positive thing, right? And I'm not talking about a person. I'm not talking about your favorite food, your favorite drink. No, what is the one thing you can't live without? If that's a habit, if it's something that's part of your morning routine. For some people, it's working out. For some people, it's God. For some people, it's listening to some motivation speech, something like that, right? Like that one thing that helps you keep going every day, because our days get tough. Look at that thing, right? And say, okay, this is this one thing that I'm going to incorporate in my life, no matter who, what, where happens, because this one thing keeps me afloat. When you identify that thing, you incorporate it into your life every day, even on the days when it's hard to show up. So for me, I can think of a couple of things, but I would say walking. I'm walking right now. It's days when I'm tired, days when I have a headache, days when I may have to do some work late, days when I may have to focus on some other things. But no matter where I'm at, I'm going to get that walk in. It's times I got to walk in the midst of washing clothes. It's times I got to walk in the midst of waiting on food, waiting for my coffee to be made at Dunkin', like just different ways, whether that's a 5-minute walk, a 10-minute walk. Now, once you identify that thing, you have to also identify the benefit that comes from it. So for me, it's not about losing weight only and getting the miles on the Nike app or getting those steps in. I need to walk because it helps me. It helps my blood flow, my brain move better. I'm able to think about things that I may not be able to think about with the right perspective. If I'm just sitting in the house or I'm sitting in a car. When I'm walking, I'm moving. It's good views, good vibes, the nature, I'm embracing it all. So that's something I include in my life. And that helps me to choose myself, to prevent myself from losing myself. The second part of choosing yourself is sitting down and writing down some areas of improvement, right? As I just mentioned, none of us are perfect. So there always will be areas of improvement. Now, these areas of improvement can be, oh, I wish I wasn't so sensitive. Oh, I wish I wasn't putting so many things and people before me and discarding myself. Oh, I said I was going to do this, but I don't do that. I'm indecisive. I'm not following up on my word. Like, right, all those type of things. And it's cool. If you may have a laundry list, it's fine because long as you're identified, you can improve it. Now, you may say, oh, if I'm talking about choosing myself, then why am I examining these things that's wrong with me? That's the point of choosing yourself. In order to choose yourself, you have to understand yourself first. You have to understand, what am I good at? What am I great at? And what do I need to be better at? And look at all of those things. But it hurts us sometimes to look at the areas of improvement that we need to do. It hurts us sometimes when we hear the areas of improvements coming from another person. So when you identify it and examine it yourself, sometimes you have to sit with it. Sometimes it's not the most comfortable, but part of that by any means mindset and part of getting better is being comfortable with those uncomfortable conversations with yourself, those uncomfortable areas of improvement that you may have been trying to fix for years and you never got around to fix it. But that's part of choosing yourself. So you zone in on those things and you find, measurable ways to really get those results that you want. And again, the choosing yourself, it doesn't mean you need a coach or mentor or somebody else to measure this. No, you know what you need to do and you know what you need to work on. What happens is that when we want to work on these things, it just gets tough because nobody wants to really hear or see what's really wrong with them. But really, you don't want to put the work in to improve that. So that's going to be part two. Now, third step that I think about choosing yourself is really like asking yourself, okay, I identified these things of what I need to improve, how I can improve it. But then it's like, how can I make this a consistent thing? So that's why I just said the first step of realizing one thing that you can't live without, that you need to do every day to keep you afloat. Now, once you go to step two and you see those areas of improvement that you need to improve and you're adamant about getting them done, step three is saying, okay, how can I incorporate things into step one that can allow me to focus on doing this every day because it feels off if I don't do it. Like when I don't go walk, I feel bad. I notice how my day is different. My mind is different. My sleep is different because all the things I could have thought about on my walk, now I'm laying down in the bed thinking about it, or I'm thinking about it before I go to sleep. All those different type of things. So choosing yourself, with that third step and those three steps I named, I've truly believed that it can help you, begin a foundation of improvement of how to choose yourself, right? Because some of us really just can't choose ourselves, meaning like we have a hard time. People say I have a big heart. I have so many people depending on me. If I don't do it, it won't get done. Right. But what if you ain't here to get it done because you done stressed yourself out? Now your blood pressure high. Now you having issues with, eating and weight and all these different type of things. Now you're in the hospital. And think about it, right? You the one that show up for everybody. And then when it's time for you need help for somebody to show up for you, they may not be found, and that hurts, right? But again, if you're going to take on that role and understanding that you are a selfless person, you got to take care of yourself so you can be there to take care of everybody else. Because what did I just say? When you lose yourself, everybody else around you also loses as well. So Choosing yourself, y'all, is Saturday. Tomorrow is Sunday. We're getting ready for the last week of June. About to already be in July. So again, this is summer separation. So July is about to start. That gives us another 31 days. We're gonna look up. It's gonna be August. It's gonna be September, and then what? The summer's gonna be over. So as we're still early in the beginning of the summer, I think it's timely that this episode talking about choosing yourself makes the perfect sense. So as we go into this week, I want you all to really follow those 3 steps that I said and apply those 3 steps throughout the week. And then you have to keep repeating it over and over and over again. So y'all know, like I always say, hustle plus faith equals success. I'm going to catch y'all on the next episode.